What's he doing, precious?
Oh, well, hi, Smeagol. I'm, I'm recording a video for YouTube.
What? Stupid photographers, Trixie. Yes.
Oh, great. What's Emmanuel up to this time? Welcome to Nerd Moments. I'm so glad to connect with you all again today. It's actually been a little while. The whole family was ill, so we took some downtime there, and I was so glad to have my voice back that I figured I'd share one of my favorite impressions with you. Let me know what you think. I look forward to hearing criticisms and praises alike. So today I want to talk with you about one of my other favorite subjects with Lord of the Rings, and particularly with Gollum or Smeagol, the one person, rather denatured hobbit that we learn about throughout the series of the Lord of the Rings, whether you follow the books or the movies. And I think it is a beautiful representation of what we call the division of the body, the soul, and the spirit. And what does that mean for us? What is the body, soul, and spirit? And how does that make an impact on our daily lives and how we go about it? So for those of you who have read or watched The Lord of the Rings and know who Smeagol or Gollum is, you see this regular dialogue with himself where you see the aspect of his mind that is consumed by the burden of the One Ring, and the good-natured, the hopeful, the simple Smeagol also trying to counteract that at times as he brings himself around Frodo and is really challenged with what he needs to do. This dialogue, of course, is fascinating and creates for a lot of wonderful impersonation opportunities, as I just did, because he is one of those characters that is so lovable as we watch his character development to the end to see what happens with him and why it happens. And honestly, because of this concept of the body, soul, and spirit, we relate quite heavily to Smeagol and Gollum, just as Frodo does with the Burden of the Ring, and in some ways even Bilbo, even though you don't get much of that in the movie version. So particularly in biblical circles, we have this concept of the body, soul, and spirit. And many other religions or cultures or ideologies of how we function as people also have different versions of this, but this is, in a simplest form, we have the body, soul, and spirit. The body, of course, being our physical existence on this earth and everything that it represents, the things that we need and desire on in the sense of the flesh, in the sense of the body, what we need to keep this carnal part of us going and alive. And our spiritual body, in a sense, also has needs to be fulfilled, something that needs to be satisfied. Kind of like we experience hunger with the physical body, there is also a need to fulfill something within us spiritually to have a complete life. And then the soul, which is also considered our mind, is the battlefield between the body and the spirit as we go through our daily lives, trying to feed one or the other and keeping them either in balance or off kilter, focusing on things of the body or things of the spirit. In Gollum's dialogue, it's a little different, of course, because it's one body and two different mental processes going on here. But if I see it as a parallel in the sense that Smeagol is the spirit of himself, and of course his body has changed with the burden of the ring, which in the case of our current example would be whether sin or something, some other type of burden, whether physical or spiritually. And oftentimes the burden is present in both the physical and spiritual dimension of ourselves. And we'll get into that more in another time. So just as we see Smeagol and Gollum wrestle back and forth between the desire of the One Ring and the desire for their friendship with Bilbo and Samwise, we also struggle with that on a daily basis. What that looks like for each of us, I'm sure, is vastly different on what we decide to focus on, what is important to us morally and physically every single day weighs in on that. So give me some feedback. What do you think of this parallel, this comparison between Gollum and the concept of the body, soul, and spirit? Tell me if you would like to know more, if you want to look into it more. What is your biggest takeaway from this? How do you feel that you can use this comparison to look at your daily life? What is one thing about the body, soul, and spirit that you would really like to learn more about? Give the feedback in the comments. I would love to hear what you have to say, and I'd like to share more of that going forward, because I'd love to see what it is that you're interested in about this concept of the body, soul, and spirit, and the impact on your daily life, and how that makes you like Smeagol, which hopefully we aren't running around half naked. Thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will check in with you next time. Until then, bye!